Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. I think it's time to talk ranked. I gotta say, I haven't prepared for this video like today in any special way. I have been preparing for this video for about a few weeks now. If you were watching my streams, you probably noticed that I have been playing a lot of tier 9. The reason for this is because the next rank season, that's going to be a regular rank, not a sprint ranked, is going to be, the good old rank, which has 23, I think, ranks. The prizes are a lot better. The grind is a lot more difficult, and endurance is of essence here. It's going to be in a tier 9 for the very first time ever since the game was released. This is something that I have been asking Wargaming to do for a very long time, and I was super happy to hear that they decided to do it. But then they decided to surprise me even more when they told me it's going to be arms race. That is something that has been... not a lot of people have experience with arms race, and even less people have a lot of experience in arms race. Arms race is a mode where you do not have a conventional caps to cap. It's not a standard battle, it's not a domination battle. It's a battle with no caps to control. It's a battle where on the minimap you have circles appearing that look like caps that become active after, let's say, 2 minutes. So the game starts, you see these circles, there's a couple of them on the map. Completely weird positioning, by the way. They're not going to be equally positioned as you would expect the caps to be. And then you have a timer on them. When the timer expires, if one of the ships is inside, that cap will disappear, and the entire team that's close enough will be getting the buff from that cap. It can be several different buffs, like reload, concealment, and healing. So it's going to be an extremely interesting sort of a way to balance this out. It's gonna be a bit tricky. So it's gonna be even more difficult for me to just tell you which ships are going to be great and which ships are gonna be terrible. I can, however, tell you which ships are gonna be extremely valuable, powerful, or not so valuable or powerful. At the end of the day, the decision is yours to make. This is my opinion from my experience and from sort of extensive playing of the ships that I thought were going to be good. Like I said, you're gonna have to take all the advice that you hear here and anywhere else with a grain of salt, because nobody has experience with tier 9 ranked, especially arms race ranked. That is going to be very, very hard to balance and to control, but I will give you my ideas on what's going to be more important than others and stuff like that. I have no idea how long the video is going to be, because I intend to go into, very briefly, of course, into some builds and captains and what you can expect. Hopefully not too long, but without any further ado, let's get right into it. We have 4 different classes. We'll start with the one that's just super short and easy. That's carriers. If you are a carrier player, there's just 2 things: Taiho and Essex. Essex can have 2-1-2. Taiho can have 2-3-3, I believe. Let's just check that real quick. This can be 3-2-2 or 2-3-2. Okay. So you can have 3 fighters while still having 2 torpedo bombers and 2 dive bombers, which is, I think, pretty damn strong. Or you can have only 2 fighter squadrons but you have 3 torpedo squadrons and 2 dive bomber squadrons. I would probably advise you to go for this one if you're gonna go for carriers, because if you come across a Taiho that has 3 and you only have 2, you are going to be on the back foot. But that's not the main issue. The main issue is if you come across Essex, which is 212, he will definitely be owning your ass. So 322 would be the way to go. Would I go between, what would I pick between Taiho and Essex? I would go for Taiho, because with Taiho you get 2 squadrons to drop with of torpedo planes and 2 HE dive bombers, and with Essex you get only 1, and that's 212. You get 2 fighters as well, you get 2 dive bombers as well, but you only get 1 torpedo squadron, and that can be problematic. Some of them will get shot down, and it's going to be a lot harder to kill destroyers, which are going to be extremely important this season. You can, however, choose between HE and AP bombers, and AP bombers can be very devastating depending on which targets you go up against. Your call. Taiho, I would give advantage to him though. If we drop down to battleships, we have Jean Bart, Izumo, Musashi, Iowa, Missouri, Freddy, Lion, and Alsace. Alsace has been nerfed, and I don't see a reason why anyone would play this next to something like Jean Bart. But I won't call it like a really bad battleship. The accuracy is kind of mad, but you have a lot of guns. The reload is so-so, and the AA shouldn't be bad. The maneuverability should be good. But still, between Alsace and Jean Bart, there's a world apart. Lion, super heal, strong AP, strong HE. Don't know about the AA though. I mean, on paper it looks good, but I mean, at least it's a solid pick. You got decent amount of guns. Their caliber is 419. So HE and AP and super heal, I don't know. I mean, I think it's gonna be an okay pick. Of course, this is without the captain. So Lion has always been in a tier 9, one of the stronger battleships that it's not used that great, because there's just Conqueror, which is even crazier. You get additional turret. But I think this has always been a strong pick. If you know when to use AP, and if you know when to use HE, how to not overextend or be too far in the back, you can do a lot. I think next to Alsace has been the strongest ship stats wise, and they nerfed Alsace, but they didn't nerf this. So Freddy, I would not advise. This thing is just garbage. I mean, I've seen it pull off miracles, but it's completely unreliable, and you would probably have to go secondary build. I very much dislike this ship. I know there's people out there who like it, love it, or want to love it, and this ship definitely deserves some love. But I wouldn't advise it. Just not enough good traits about it to be like, yeah, the gun's way too unreliable. Iowa is a good ship. The only problem with Iowa is she kind of lacks one thing. Well, there's a Missouri. Why would you take Iowa when there's a Missouri? Of course, a lot of you won't maybe have Missouri, although I have seen like a lot of people getting Missouri from Santa crates and all this jazz. So I don't know. Missouri has the armor and the solid guns, speed, decent amount of guns with a okay caliber, solid or not to say very good AA, and it's got radar. I mean, that's one of the things that makes it unique. It's the only battleship in the game with the radar. Not to mention you make fuck ton of credits, but if you have Missouri, you're probably not in dire need of credits anyway. But if you do play ranked and you go with Missouri, by the end of the rank, you will probably have more money than you know what to do with. That's one of the good traits about it. So Missouri is definitely going to be one of the best picks because it is mediocre to good, not to say good to very good in pretty much every aspect. Sure, the guns do not have the overmatch capability like a certain other tier 9 premium battleship has, but I think this battleship is just really good all around, that it's probably going to be the #1 pick for this ranked season. Musashi, very weak AA. Secondaries that you probably won't get to use. A lot of HP. I mean, this thing has 97.3 thousand HP. Yamato has 97.2. So it has more HP than a Yamato, and it's a tier 9. And it has 460mm guns, which can overmatch. Accuracy, though, and mobility. Accuracy and mobility are pretty damn crap. Although I have seen lately a lot of people pulling some really hilarious volleys with Musashi, like almost more accurate than Yama, so I don't know what to think about that, but I think this thing is just a beast. It has so much HP, and it's not that easy to kill or penetrate, and the ability that you can, if your accuracy is on point, the fact that you can just murder other battleships, cruisers, no problem, I think is very strong. So this is also going to be a very strong pick, because it's simply going to be very hard to kill, and it can punish you if it gets lucky. Izumo, just no. This thing is gonna get even more love. I mean, it tells you how bad this ship is when the 3rd round of buffs is coming to accuracy of its guns. So, just completely unreliable. The poor thing, hopefully after the next buff it will be a lot better, but we'll see. I just wouldn't advise it right now. My personal favorite tier 9 battleship is Jean Bart, of course. This thing has mobility, has the bow tanking capability, because it doesn't, you have all your turrets up front. A lot of AA, some people will even go secondaries. It has a speed boost, so you can go very fast forward or French meme in reverse. It's very fast on reload. Where is it? 22.9 seconds, the way that I built it. And you have that gun reload booster, which means you will spit like 2.5 volleys by the time other people reload even once. Why I love this battleship so much is because it's capable of punishing mistakes medium to close range. And I think in any type of competitive gameplay, the main plays do not happen halfway across the map. Sure, it's very important that you can shoot good across the map and punish someone who gives you broadside, and you just successfully guess where he's going to be, and he fails to turn and play with speed, but really good players can just avoid that. But medium to close range, you will not be able to give this thing the broadside. You give Jean Bart the broadside, he triggers that reload booster. It can, even if he was shooting HE, which he doesn't need to, you can swap to AP, switch to AP, and just absolutely murder anything. The AP on long range is not that great, especially if the targets are bow in, so you will probably be resorting to shooting HE. The guns are not extremely accurate, I won't lie. But this thing excels in close quarters. The only killer of this is Jean Bart. I'm an idiot. Musashi. The only killer of Jean Bart is a Musashi. I don't know, have you watched any of my Sunday Funday videos? I haven't actually posted any of the ones that I'm about to talk to you on YouTube, but they are on Twitch and past broadcasts. And one day we took 12 Jean Barts versus 12 Musashis in Ocean. We split them in 2 groups. Musashis decided to do the same. One Musashi group was falling back while the other one was pushing. Both groups of Jean Bart were pushing. The Musashi group that was pushing lost. The Musashi group that was falling back was holding really good. In the end, Jean Bart got close and managed to kill in 12 versus 12 on Ocean the Musashis. It was a very tough battle. Jean Bart also managed to kill all 12 Missouris with no problem. Musashi's managed to kill all 12 Misuris with no problem. And then it was basically Missouri 0 wins, Jean Bart 2 wins, Musashi 1 win. And then we decided to take things to a next level. Took 12 Jean Barts versus 12 Musashis on a map, on a very small map that has islands and caps. So everything was in favor of Jean Bart. Musashi simply decided to just fall back, let us push, and they absolutely murdered all of Jean Barts. I don't think a single Musashi died. Why? Musashi has range and overmatch capability. You need to get somehow to flank Musashi, and you need to do it from medium to close range. Otherwise, the AP is just not working. If you can, Musashi is just, it's a beast that cannot follow you. The turrets turn slow. Broadside from medium to close range is extremely vulnerable. So Jean Bart is just a machine that in close quarters has all the traits it needs. Secondaries, AA, fast turning turrets, fast reloading turrets, even faster reloading guns, speed boost, quickly turning. It's a beast. It will be one of my favorites because it can adapt to pretty much any situation and it can quickly respond. That's why I love it. For the builds, I mean, I just boost the guns, go concealment, accuracy, and as much as I can in the survivability. Captain wise, I don't think I would experiment with anything specifically that I already don't use. It's like as much as you can boost the survivability and just a bit of concealment and stuff. So as Missouri has good in everything and that radar which gives it the edge, Jean Bart can adapt to pretty much any situation, and Musashi is just 460s. That's all there is to it. So 3 premium tier 9 battleships are going to be probably 3 top picks. Of course, instead of Missouri, you can go for Iowa, but you don't have the info. I wouldn't exactly advise Izumo over Musashi, but you can go for, I don't know, Lion. Instead of Jean Bart, you can try Alsace, but if it's not premium, I would just suggest you maybe go Lion, because it seems to be, without any specific testing, I think it's going to be probably the best pick. Just be careful how you manage your heals, because once you heal, forget about healing for a while. Already talked about battleships more than I wanted, but we did some extensive research, so wanted to share. When we go to cruisers, this is where the problem cooks up. We have, okay, well, I have Alaska, you don't have it yet because it has not been published, so I won't talk about Alaska. Once it comes out, you are more than welcome to try it. I think it's going to be an okay ship. It also has a radar, it can bow tank, it does have AA. The turrets turn fast. They shoot relatively fast. I mean, it's 305 mils. Concealment is okay. It's an okay ship. If it goes out during the season, I would definitely advise you to, if you have a million credits, a million free XP to just throw at something that's not great, then by all means. Kronstadt, on the other hand, has radar, no bow tanking capabilities, but a lot of HP. Strong guns, good arcs, but questionable accuracy. The problem with Kronstadt is you will need to get close to use its main capability, which is the radar. But if you do get close, pretty much any battleship can punish you. That's the thing about Kronstadt. So, I don't know. And if you turn away, look at this. Look at this. You're dead. So I'm really not sure what to tell you about Kronstadt. It's a weak ship, but, and it does have a radar. It's strong and it's weak in the same time. It really depends on how the game flows. Because you can have 70,000 HP, but once you get close, that HP melts really, really fast. And once you commit, there's no turning out. If you turn out, someone like Jean Bart, Missouri, anyone is just going to be waiting to punish your broadside and you're dead. So, I don't know. Donskoy, it does have a radar, but this ship is absolutely huge as well. And giving broadside, you're dead. Not giving broadside, I don't know. I mean, let me put. I should probably have stated this straight from the beginning. Any ship that has a radar has the potential in the next ranked season. Radar is just going to be an extremely important feature. But some of these beasts are just way too big to be close. Kronstadt, Donskoy, Ibuki, Rune, St. Louis, those are the ships you play from the maximum range. The contradiction for Donskoy and Kronstadt is they actually have radars. So the game is telling you, you know, go close, use the radar. But if you get close, you're dead. So I wouldn't actually advise Rune, St. Louis, or Ibuki, or because they are the type of machines which work very well on maximum distance and over time. Two things that you will not have in arms race: you do not have time, and you do not have the luxury of being at maximum range. It will be close quarter fights for buffs, because if you do decide to take this too passive, the enemy will get so many buffs. They will just outlast you. They will out DPM you. They will out heal you. They will out detect you. You're gonna be screwed. So it's gonna be like medium fights if you want to play this properly. The DDs will go in, and the cruisers and battleship will try to support them as best to their ability. So you will need a bit stealthier cruisers. So, and you know, radars are good. So Buffalo, Seattle, Neptune, the 3, and Alaska, but she's not here yet. 3 that have radar and a bit lower detection. However, Neptune with radar is still 10.1. It's 10.1, trust me, concealment. And its radar is 9.45. So you have about 600 meters being detected with no radar capability. However, that's not the main issue with this ship. The main issue with this ship is if this ship gets picked and gets detected, you can bet your ass that every living soul will be aiming at it that's not a DD. Because this ship can get citadeled and killed from any angle, and it's big. And it's kind of clumsy. So using it with a radar, wow, it's gonna be beyond living on the edge. Using it with a smoke screen, sure, you can allow yourself to go a bit on the flank, use the smoke screen, get some angles, or just be a camper. You have torpedoes, you have AA, you have guns, you have reload, heal, sure, but how much value are you going to be to your team by camping or smoke screening? I don't know. The radar is going to be very dangerous to use. Smoke screen to be tested. Seattle and Buffalo are simply not what I enjoy. These, like, American tier cruisers, tier 10, are a completely different thing than tier 9. They're just, tier 10s do not have flaws. Tier 9s have. Like, really slow reload in comparison to Des Moines. So you can't, I mean, you can bow tank, but I don't know, it just, Buffalo never set with me. It does have 12 203mm guns, so you will be able to punish with AP, you can shoot HE and all that jazz, but look, I mean, reload, 10.6 seconds, it's not bad, but I don't know. I'm not saying that this is going to be a weak pick. This is certainly going to be a problematic ship to deal with. Just not my favorite, I'm afraid. Seattle is a light version. So, very good concealment with really strong radar for considering how its concealment is. And you have a heal and defensive AA and a radar and a hydro. It's just weak when it comes to armor, and it's relatively big. At least the broadside, you're gonna have to be very careful how you play with this. But I mean, yeah, IFHE and let's go. Just be careful. If you get spotted, like in every other game mode, cruisers gonna get destroyed. Cruisers are here to help DDs with radars. Try to stay safe and try to do the best you can. Cruisers are always just a problem in competitive gameplay. That's why Moskvas, Stalingrads, and everything similar is so popular in competitive gameplay in tier 10, because they're resilient. You either go super stealth, like Mino, Worcester, or you go super strong. So you're not a conventional cruiser, you can actually tank. So cruisers are going to be backup. Good luck to all cruiser players out there. Battleships are going to be very dangerous. And then we come to the main question, and that's destroyers. DDs, there's a lot to choose from. And I'm pretty sure we have every single option in the game available right now. And some of these things are going to be really valuable, but not that strong. Some of them are going to be really strong, questionable value. So let's start from bad. Tashkent and Udaloy. No. Just no. There is no reason for you to go these ships. If that's the only thing you have, then well, go and struggle, but you do not have concealment. You will not be the one taking the buffs. The only thing that goes for you is speed. But will you throw away your entire HP and potentially your ship just to get the buff? Once you enter the circle, you get the buff immediately, so there's no capping needed. But everybody will see you coming, everybody will shoot you. I don't think these two are going to be really good picks. And there's battleships and cruisers that are going to be a good fire support. Not these back of the line kiting things that take 20 minutes to have an impact on the game. This is like Ibuki and Rune. Just no. Tashkent and Udaloy, just no. Then we go to... like, those two are no. Everything else goes. The next kind of picks, which would be if you don't have anything better, then you can definitely go for, and it is very much possible to make these work. They're just not the strongest picks. You have Chungmu and Fletcher. Why these two extremely strong ships so back of the line? Because Fletcher has solid concealment. Okay, solid concealment. Really good torps with solid range. Guns, 5 guns, very slow shell speed. So, close quarter fights are a go. Medium to long, no, just no. And it's got a decent amount of HP. So this is a really strong ship on paper. Shell velocity is really crap. So besides fighting DDs, close, anything else is kind of and it can have, well, not can, it has defensive AA, which is really good if there's carriers, and a smoke. However, radar ships will be the ones that... radar and hydro are the ones that are going to be extremely valuable. Like, don't get me wrong, Fletcher and Chungmu are extremely strong DDs. But intelligence in this mode is going to be of utmost importance, in my opinion. So you could say, okay, what's the problem with Chungmu then? Chungmu can have either smoke or radar. Well, that's the thing. If you have a smoke screen, then you are a Fletcher that deals more damage to capital ships and cannot torpedo DDs. So against the Fletcher, Fletcher definitely has advantage over you. You have a lot crazier smoke screens than Fletcher, so okay. And you do not have defensive AA. So it's a different version of Fletcher, and I would definitely give Fletcher the benefit here. But if you go for radar, it's 7.5 kilometer radar, 17 seconds. It's not bad, but you don't have the smoke. If you open fire, or if you get detected and you can't disengage, you're screwed. That's the problem with Chungmu. It's going to be a dangerous boat to play against, but it's going to be a dangerous boat to play with. So as much as I value radar and its crazy smoke screens, you can't have both in the same time. That's where we jump into black. It's a Fletcher with smoke and radar. Black is going to probably be the most dangerous pick in the entire season. Why? It has US smoke screens, so it means it can use it to smoke screen himself and shoot for a very long time, or it can do that for the fleet, and it has decent amount of them, and it has the radar. 7.5 kilometer radar that lasts 20 seconds, and if you put the special module, you will have 24 seconds. 24 seconds of radar on a DD is extremely powerful. Now, one thing where this ship is going to be extremely valuable to your team, not extremely powerful. Why? It has 5 guns just like the Fletcher that are only good for close quarters. Like, I've played Black recently, and beyond him just being boring to play, because it all comes down to your guns, and your guns have a really slow shell velocity, it's just US shell velocity, maneuvering destroyers on anything more than like 5-6 kilometers are a bit of a problem to hit. Like, you may be a good destroyer player, but you're gonna be coming up against good destroyer players as well, at least later on. If they know how to dodge, and if they zigzag, you will struggle to do any significant damage to DDs. But that's not its main strength. Its main strength is going to be you showing the DDs, the enemy DDs, to your team. The enemy destroyers that do not have radar capability will go into some of these caps or try to get close. You will radar them, and they will either die or they will run like a wounded dog, because your team will be there to punish them. Your team will need to be close to your destroyers. So I think it's going to be of extreme importance to have Black in your team because of radar. And if it comes down to shooting stationary cruisers or battleships, these 5 guns are going to be good enough. Torpedoes are basically mines. You have 10 of them, and they have extremely good range, but they're 43 knots only. Basically, and they're very stealthy. 900 meters. I thought it was 800, but it's 9. And they reload really fast. And they are one of the, if not the most hurtful torpedoes in the game for the tier. 21.6 thousand damage. Maybe Kitakaze has more. We'll check. So, if you get hit with this torp, you're gonna feel it. Especially if you're a DD, you're even probably going to die from just one. The problem is going to be hitting anything with these torpedoes. If it's going to be a stationary fight, then yeah. But if it's going to be people maneuvering, it's a lot. It's just going to be a lotto. You win it or you don't. You spot these torpedoes, and then you still manage to dodge them, even though they're 900 meters only away from you. But they're just super slow. You can go and say, well, okay, I can boost 5 knots. You lose 20% of range. Then your long-range torpedoes are no longer really long-range. And you will lose a couple of kilometers of range. They will still be okay range, but 48 knots is not going to be anything magnificent either. But you can definitely give it a go. You can definitely play with it. As far as the build is concerned, I mean, regular stuff. Concealment, RPF, Superintendent for more radars, more HP, Last Stand, Adrenaline Rush, and Preventive Maintenance. You can, of course, drop Adrenaline Rush and go for Torpedo Reload if that's what you want to experiment with. Nothing too extreme. Extremely valuable, not extremely powerful. It's very situational. Will its guns and torps, its weapons, be useful? And that also puts you in a spot where, are you going to be able, if your team is losing, get enough damage with this ship to save yourself the star? So, extremely valuable to your teams if you want to go for the win. We have yet to determine how good this thing is going to be in, you know, saving stars and farming damage. Next up, we have Yugumo, which is going to be the most stealthy ship of the tier with its 5.5 concealment. So it will see you before you see him. That's for sure, in all the cases, unless you pre-radar it. It has also 6 guns which hurt. These are not guns to be trifled with. They do 2200 damage per shell, or 2150 with HE. The reload 5.7. It's kind of meh, but it's not terrible. And you do have 6 of them. Of course, most of them are located in the back, and the turret rotation is not that great. The range is good. As the captain, I wouldn't go anything really that different besides, instead of superintendent, torpedo reload, because torpedoes on this thing are nasty. Of course, I would not advise you to go, even though you're the stealthiest destroyer there, I would not advise you to go for torpedo reload booster, because if you do get detected and you do fall in trouble, smokescreen is your way to go, not your weaponry. It is capable of kind of defending himself, but, and I do advise you to use guns and torps when you can, but torps number 1, scouting number 1, okay? Guns number 2. You can go really crazy and go torpedo reload booster, and with some buffs, you will be so low on detection that you can get really close and empty a lot of torpedoes. However, there's going to be a lot of radar ships in this game, so the lower your detection is, closer you can get to the enemy, bigger trouble you're going to be in when they do press the radar. So think about that. But an ultimate scout with very dangerous torps and relatively dangerous guns. Yeah, look at that, 23.7 per torp. I would advise people to give a go with Yugumos. Just be careful about the radars. The next up, we have Kitakaze. This is one of the ships that is going to be of questionable value, extremely powerful. The guns with IFHE are just insane. This thing is maybe even overpowered. So it's gonna be interesting. It's got IFHE, it's got concealment, which is I think 5.9, and then you take BFT and survivability expert with the regular stuff. So you go basically full gunboat. You rely on your guns, and torpedoes are there every 3 minutes to just make someone's life miserable. They are extremely hard-hitting torps, really fast, good range. The reload is just the problem. So buffing anything to torpedo would mean that you do not have a synchronization between your torpedo reload booster and your only torp launcher. Of course, that may not be of an issue to you. You maybe do not want to fire both of them in the same time. You just want to fire one and then something else. That's fine. I would definitely use the 12 km torpedoes and go concealment gun build. Why I said this is going to be very powerful and of questionable value, because its concealment is good, but definitely not the best. Every other DD, competitive DD at least, is going to be equal or better when it comes to concealment. Of course, with some buffs, you can equalize that or go even better. The guns are terrible when it comes to meeting them. They're absolutely amazing if you need to shoot someone. It's got 8 of them, really fast firing. You do need IFHE though. So meeting up this thing in a DD, I would not give you much chance. And it does have very good portion of HP. Torpedoes are very rare with this thing, so that's kind of a weakness, but they are extremely good torps. And it relies mostly on guns. However, it's relatively big and clunky. It can easily get torpedoed. And it will not be able to outspot others, and it does not carry radar. It does not have defensive AA. It does have a decent AA on its own, but no defensive AA, so the carrier will be able to kill you, especially if they're swift and fast. It's not very fast either. It does have a speed boost, but I don't know. I mean, I think giving this a go is definitely going to be good because of how annoying and problematic it can be to fight against it. But I would still give advantage to radar-capable ships such as Black to scout these little buggers so your team can shoot it and punish it. Of course, if you combine a Kitakaze and something like Black, then you are having everything. Perma-smokes, maybe perma-smokes. Yeah, definitely, because of Black. Crazy torpedoes from both of them. Guns, radar, you just need hydro. So I would rate Kitakaze really strong, but, you know, second best, let's say. And then we come to the last two, which I have spent a lot of time playing, and I think they're going to be best DDs all around. We come to Z46 and Jutland. Concealment of Jutland is 5.7, of Z46 is 5.9. So just like Kitakaze, 5.9. It has 6 guns instead of 8, and most of them are located in the back. The AP is good. The HE is solid. Torpedoes are not bad at all. They are 67 knots, 10 kilometers. They don't hurt too much, but they're okay. And you can shoot them pretty fast, 76 seconds. It does have 2 times 4, so it's 8. Solid torps, solid guns, okay concealment. But where it does excel, it's HP pool. And it has a hydro. And this is not just any hydro, this is a 5-kilometer hydro of ships. So there will be no contesting against this thing. The only thing that's better is a radar. However, radar lasts 10 times shorter. Radar can last about 20 seconds, while this thing lasts 2 minutes. And it's pretty damn strong. So if you combine like Black and Z46, then you have everything. You legit have every single thing you need. So hydro that can be used defensive or aggressive. Speed boost, smoke screens which are not great but useful. Special module if you have it, of course, to prolong it. And as for the captain, nothing special really. You can maybe instead of this go for even crazier torpedo reload, or you can go your DDs and make them gunboats, but super intended for extra extra hydro. I think this is going to be an extremely fun to play destroyer that can adapt to any situation. If you need to defend, if you need to attack, if you need to scout, but you can always smoke up. You get detected, you smoke up and you hydro. If you're not in radar range, that's one of the things that this thing can afford that other DDs cannot. Other DDs get detected, they need to run. Because if they stop and smoke, they're going to get torpedoed. Or they're going to get rushed. This thing, not so much. The only thing that can be better is the radar. And then you come to a Jutland, which has a very defensive hydro. Because it's only 3-kilometer range. And you have a penalty of shooting at like 2.45, so you can't really use it aggressively. But it lasts extremely long. 3 minutes of 3-kilometer hydro of torpedoes and ships. You are just going to be scouting every torpedo that's coming for your team. And yourself. So very powerful there. You can cycle smoke screens like a madman. You have heal. And you have a decent amount of HP. This thing is just going to be powerful. The guns are solid. 113mm only, so I do advise IFHE if you want to use HE. Range is pretty good. When it comes to torps, it's got 10 of them. 10 km, 62 knots. They're okay. AA defense, maneuverability, okay-ish. And concealment, Very good, 5.7. So Jutland and Z46 are like, they have a good of everything. So I would definitely advise these two to be picked, because you can do some plays in combination with them. So if you combine, let's say, a Jutland or a Z46 with black and a Kitakaze, you pretty much have everything. Symbiosis, like working together, is going to be of extreme importance in any game mode, but especially ranked, and especially these arms race modes, because you're gonna have these caps that appear randomly on the map with various different buffs, and you want to be there to pick them. Don't forget, when a destroyer gets in, when any ship gets in, it gets double buff, and you can carry, I think, 6. So there's a concealment circle. You get, after 2 minutes, it's active. The first one that enters gets it for his team. Of course, the team has to be in a certain distance behind it. I'm not exactly sure how much. I think it's like 10 kilometers or so. I'm sure you're gonna let me know in the comments. So your team will need to be relatively close to you to support you and to get the buffs. Everybody get 1 buff, you get double buff. And everybody can carry the maximum of 6 buffs. Concealment, reload, and passive healing. It's gonna be very dangerous and very probably fun to play. How one-sided are these games going to be? It's kind of hard to tell, because all of these buffs are over time. You do not actually feel these buffs immediately as you take them, because passive healing is going to be healing you for a small amount of HP over long duration. Reload, you're getting a bit better reload, so you don't actually feel immediately that you're that much powerful. But in the long run, you will be just spitting out more while healing, and your concealment can be lower. So it's gonna be very hard. It was a very, very difficult thing for me to tell you which ships and how, but I really hope it does help. Because your DDs are there going to be to scout, and you're gonna have to be sure you kill the enemy destroyers faster than the enemy kills yours, because your destroyers are going to be the ships that carry you and bring you these buffs, and they are gonna come up against a lot of guns and a lot of radars. So please, by all means, focus the destroyers. Help them as much as you can and be there physically with them. And good luck to you all. I hope this was useful. If you have any questions, you're very welcome to ask them in the comments below. Me or someone else, you know, we can all share knowledge. If anyone wants to make any timestamps for the rest of you, by all means, please do. I can leave a heart on the comment, so it's easier for you to find whatever you need out of the video. This video is almost 50 minutes long, God help, so I'm not gonna talk anymore. Good luck, the rank season is coming soon, and I'll see you out there.